I tried to organise a teach meet, no one would come. I'm not criticising them for that, because it's on film. I think
they won't watch it anyway.
Right, listen. You watch I think it represents a huge problem that we have in teaching, though, about the days like today, doesn't it? It represents, you guys are here because you want to hear some good stuff. But unless we do that, it won't change anything, unless we go back and do that. What I hope Donaldson's recommendation will begin is a slow evolution in teacher training, where eventually every teacher is master's educated. I think that's a necessity, and I think it needs to be, from the beginning, an ongoing master's study career. I really think it does, and I think we have to bite the bullet in that. Here's my controversial line. We need teaching to be full of academic rigour that's expected of every teacher throughout their careers, so we attract the smartest people in the room. That's what we need. Teaching is no longer a rest home for the indifferent. Sorry. A haven for those who couldn't do anything else, or were too frightened to leave the comfort of their institutionalised life and skills. I think that makes me angry, and I know that's controversial, but I believe that. I believe there should be blocks to people that don't, or that are not committed to teaching, and I think it happens too often. I'm not saying it happens a lot, I think it happens. And I think having a master's level profession might help us towards something with a bit more academic rigour. And I apologise if I offended anybody by that, but I think it's really important. Slowly, perhaps, we begin to change the makeup of teachers who enter classrooms of every school in Scotland. Teachers whose practice is underpinned by academic research, rigorous lesson study, who can smell the bullshit of edubabble and can spot an educational turkey a mile away. We recognise that in general, all collegiality in schools is contrived. We take responsibility for increasing the standards, for raising the bar, for putting an end to the excuses for low expectations. Poverty is a terrible blight in any society. It happens too much in Scotland, and we see it every day, and we say, isn't that a shame? And it's not good enough. That was my emotional bit. And when we see the little kid who turns up at 15 with her wee exam results, and she's got a wee result at the lowest level, and didn't she do it? At least she got something. Well, that's great, isn't she got something? And it's not good enough. We say that's all right, because that wee poor wee soul was a poor wee soul when she was 5, and the system didn't do anything for her, and we see it far too much. Right, let's put an end to that. Oh, sorry, I was going to put that up. I'm talking about pedagogy, but goodness, I won't do that because time's going. What do the people want of the curriculum? They want it to be filled with thinking persons as open and adventurous as its architecture. A nest of fearties is what they do not want. Translate there. A symposium of procrastinators is what they do not want. A phalanx of forelock tuggers is what they do not want. And perhaps above all, the droopy mantra of "it wasn't me" is what they do not want. Let's make a difference here. My numbers, I've done that one. Almost there. Yeah. Oh no. Sorry. Yeah, so where things are changing within initial teacher training, Strathclyde University, who I did some work with, are the first university in Scotland to start introducing master's level courses for teachers. I'm currently studying one with Charlene, who's right there, on supporting teacher learning, where we're doing a lot of academic research and a lot of peer learning, I suppose, in terms of the academic research, and so we go into schools as mentors and we can start to make that difference that I was talking about. But it's getting there. Yeah, can I do this? So, mandated commitment to professional learning. I've missed that. Can you just give me a second? Sorry, I've just thrown it back into the way that I really need. Oh yeah, sorry. So from August, and we're coming, I know we're coming up to the end here. In August, every teacher in Scotland is going to be subjected to something called professional update. And what professional update will do, all teachers will be required to maintain a professional learning record and portfolio of evidence. Something similar had already been in place, but it's going to be done online, so every teacher has to do it. The discussion of this work and its impact will be part of the annual professional review and development process. Something was sort of in place, but it's going to be much more structured. And there will be a 5-yearly confirmation of this engagement to GTC Scotland. This is something that has changed. It was assumed that we'd do it now. It's going to be mandated. We're going to have to get involved with some of the research. We're going to have to start doing things like that and start becoming more involved in the sort of academic rigour. I'm not daft enough to think that this will be a panacea for all those, but it will begin to turn the tide, I think. Right, so where are we going now? I'm just coming to the end, so bear with me. A mandated commitment to professional learning will at work. Well, if we step up and we take responsibility and we start changing things ourselves and not waiting for things to happen. I've been teaching for 15 years, waiting for things to change, and it's not going to happen. And one of the important things about this is I don't think I'll ever have another opportunity for this, and it needs to work. Forget the name Curriculum for Excellence. I'm going to make that suggestion today to teachers in Scotland that might be listening. Forget the name. It's been nothing but a burden. Not because it calls itself a curriculum, and it's probably not. It will become that eventually. Not even because it has the word excellence in it. It's become a burden because it's just a label now. Like successful learners, confident individuals, responsible citizens and effective contributors, just labels. Like charter teacher, just a label. And as we all know, when you label something, you can compartmentalise it and you can dismiss it as a thing. You can use it or put it away in a drawer or something. It's not that. It has to be a societal change of everything that we do and everything we think about. And that's what education should do. So we're very good at labelling things in education, so we get things like cooperative learning, as I said earlier on. And I had a conversation with a very experienced teacher recently, brilliant teacher, and she said to me that cooperative learning makes my class just wonderful. It was absolutely, she was glowing. And it made, I was really pleased for her because she was pleased, but also a wee bit sad, because what I saw was a brilliant teacher who could only really couch her brilliance in the use of some strategy that she did. And what I would suggest to you, if those of you that have used cooperative learning, I'm sure some of you have, if it works for you, it's because you're a great teacher. Because you can implement great group work in the classroom. If it was so good, we'd all be doing it. And she couldn't justify herself. And because of that, we de-skill ourselves. Because we talk about these things that we're supposed to be doing. The big folder. I went to the class, the big folder changed my life. No, it didn't. You're a great teacher. And we don't say it enough to each other. I'm a great teacher because I can communicate my subject. You might well do it with some interesting group work. You might use the odd wee strategy here, but you're a great teacher because a lot of teachers can't do what you're doing. And that I wanted to hug her for two different reasons. But she's great, and I just think, that whole thing about the person that comes along and speaks to you and you're sitting in the plastic chairs, irony alert, and talks about cooperative learning is great. My company will give you all of this, blah, 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 and you die in your backside. So we're getting towards the end of this. Dear friends, dear lawgivers, dear parliamentarians, dear teachers, you are picking up a thread of pride and self-esteem that has been almost but not quite, oh no, not quite, not ever broken or forgotten. We have a huge tradition of pride in what we do that we're losing. Because of public perception, because of government we're in, because of all the stuff that's been thrown at us, let's remind ourselves why we do this and just be proud of it again. So where are we now? This new curriculum is about 12 years old. We can't wait and pontificate any longer. The last of the new exam courses come into being next year. We had the first run of what is called National 5 exams, which are for 15-year-olds, just below, and higher is the last big one that we do, and that changes next year. But the National 5s, which everyone was up and at the press, all the posh press was saying, it's terrible. And it was, a lot of the implementation was a complete mess. But the kids came out of the exams, and I was listening to the BBC report on Wednesday. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? You know, it was great. I worked hard, and the kids were all glowing and said it was wonderful. And they, but did you really think the questions? And you could hear the disappointment in the BBC's their voice. The kids had done really well, and we prepared them for what the exam was. But things change next year, and that will be at 3 to 18. Never been done before. It's this huge job to make sure we get it right. But as I said in a blog recently, change only takes place in the classroom. That's where change takes place. It takes place in your classroom and your staff room. Despite all the cliches about teachers being at the heart of any curriculum, teachers being the most important people in the room, not everyone gets that. Not every teacher gets that. There might be reasons for it, I don't know. But what I do know is that I won't get another opportunity like this. I spend much of my time of the year visiting trainee teachers. I was seeing 2 teachers yesterday. I was out of school doing that. And they seem more prepared than ever. But what I do is I kind of tend to see identical lessons of them throwing a little bit of cooperative learning, and in 45 minutes, and I see everything. I need to show a bit of video now. I need to do a bit of cooperative learning. Have I done my assessment as for them? So they're aware of them. There's just not a perception of what these things actually mean and why they're doing them. And that worries me that I'm still not getting that understanding of why assessment is for learning is so important. Why formative assessment is the thing that we should be doing all day, every day in a classroom. They don't get it. They do it, they don't get it. So there is still room for change. Yeah, last wee bit. Do you remember the time, go back to 1998, so we got history. Tony Blair at the time of the Good Friday Agreement said, this is not a time for glowing cliches, but I feel we have a hand of history on our shoulders. So we made a promise and broke it in the same sentence. Even for him, wasn't it? But I do think we're on the verge of something now. Once we get the last exam into place next year, and we start getting this research base amongst every teacher, and that's where you guys come in and take that back to the school, then I think it's change that's going to happen. Curriculum change doesn't happen with a tick of a pen. It doesn't happen over breakfast time. Although if you're at the Best Western, try the sausages. We have a duty to do this, and we have the chance and the opportunity to change the lives of every single Scottish kid, and maybe start scraping away of that poverty thing that we still have a problem with. Curriculum for excellence? Not yet, but it will be. It will be. What is it? We the people cannot tell you yet, but you'll know about it when we do tell you. We give you a consent to teach. Don't pocket it and ride away. We give you our deepest, dearest wish to teach. Well, don't say we have no mandate to be so bold. We give you this great curriculum. Don't let your work and hope be other than great when you enter and begin. So now begin. Open the doors and begin. Thanks very much. To offer the floor for questions, but if you don't have any stoppage, I'm more than happy to do that. Yes, please.
We keep in England. We keep talking about jurisdictions, high-performing jurisdictions. And Scotland is kind of quoted as being a great education system. Scotland is a really small country with a small population.
It's quality, not science.
But the thing is that, and we have such a diverse education system in England, independent schools, free schools, academies and all that sort of stuff. Do you think it's easier to implement a curriculum change like you did firstly over 13 years rather than 6 months after it's been for a while? But also because it's a much smaller community. Do you feel that the education community in Scotland is kind of a community?
I think it helps because it's centralised in London. It's from Scottish government down. And I think that's always going to be a problem when it's so fragmented. But we also have huge schools in Glasgow and tiny schools in the Orkneys, and so there is a big spread there. But I do absolutely think that is in our advantage. But the fact that it's been 13 years suggests that we're not maybe